Hi guys, and welcome to 123 MyOT's video on which RX 570 brand is best for cryptocurrency mining. So the versions we're going to compare today, we'll start with the Sapphire Nitro Plus RX 570 4GB OC version, and then we've got the Asus Strix Gaming RX 570 OC version. And last but not least, the Gigabyte Aorus RX 570 version. Okay guys, so I've been doing some cryptocurrency mining for a little while now, and I just wanted to go through what I think, or my personal opinion, of what the pros and cons for each of the graphics cards that we have here. Now don't get me wrong, each graphics card of the RX 570s will get you probably around about anywhere from 27 mega hashes right up to 30, 31 mega hashes. So they all perform quite well, but I've come to make up a list of what I think of the pros and cons between each RX 570, and hopefully that will give you a better buying guide if you are looking to build a cryptocurrency mining rig. Okay, so the first card we're going to look at are the Sapphire Nitros Plus. They're the 4GB, all cards are the 4GB RX 570s, and it's the overclock version. Okay, so the pros and cons for the Sapphire version. So the Sapphire you can expect to pay around about 329 USD for this card. Now, prices are always changing, so don't quote me on that. You know, by the time I release this video, who knows, it may drop right down or it may go right up. That's just the nature of the GPU prices at the moment. So other pros is the BIOS switch, which is a little BIOS switch here, which you can switch back and forth and have two types of BIOSes on your card. You could have a gaming BIOS and then switch it back and you could have your mining BIOS. So that's a pretty cool feature. I've not actually had to use it at this stage because I use the cards just for mining. I don't use them for gaming, so for me it's nice to have, but would I buy these cards just for that feature for mining? No, I would not. The next part we're going to have a look at on this card, you can see here it has two ports. It has one 6-pin power port and another 8-pin power port. So you can actually have either power plugs plugged into that if you've got an older power supply, or you're running low on cabling from your power supply. You can actually use a 6-pin plug. But currently I just use the 8-pin plugs on both of my cards. So for me, for mining, it's not really needed. The other thing I like about the Sapphire cards is you can actually turn off the lighting and they stay off on the cards. Whereas if you try to turn off the lighting on the Asus cards and you move them from a different rig, they will actually come back on and they will keep going. So I like the function of being able to turn off the lighting on the cards permanently to save a bit more power when you're mining. Okay, so let's talk about the cons of the Sapphire card. Well, the Sapphire cards are the big boys in the market. So if you see the size of the card there, they're actually 26 centimeters long, and they're a little bit wider than the Asus cards. You can see there's quite a big difference. I'll go around the back there and try and give you a better shot. So you can see they're quite big. So if you wanted to put these cards in a gaming ring after you use them, then you know, you might be stuck a little bit for space. So that's not too bad. They also come with a back plate as well on the cards, so that's a nice feature. I actually don't mind that, but for mining it doesn't really matter. But if you wanted to try and put these cards into a gaming rig, it might be nice to have. Other cons are, I have found that these cards run a little bit hotter than the Asus. Okay, so heat might be an issue over the Asus cards. Also, I found them a little bit less stable and a little less able to be overclocked. So you know, to get those extra hash rates out, they will chew up a little bit more power as well. So that's something else to be aware of when buying the Sapphire cards. Okay, so let's take a look at the Asus cards here. So you can see I've got 4 Asus cards currently running in this rig, and the cost of each card. You'll find them on Amazon. Now again, pricing goes up and down daily, so don't quote me on this. When the video is released, it might change. But currently you can pick them up for about $379 off Amazon. I found the cards to be good, so they're a good size. They're 24 centimeters, so they're smaller than the Sapphires, which we just looked at before. They do overclock quite well, so the memory on these cards are found to be quite good and quite stable. You get about, on a memory clock, you can bump them right up to almost 2000. I think 950 was the pretty much the stable area for a lot of these RX 570 cards. Another good thing is they seem to not heat up as much. They don't have a back plate on them. I'll show you that now. As you can see, they don't have a back plate on them, so they don't tend to heat up quite as much as the Gigabyte card or the Sapphire card. So they seem to have quite low heat. Also, as we mentioned before, they're a bit smaller. You can see there how much smaller they are than the Sapphire cards. And as you can see, they only come with one 8-pin power slot, but they have this really cool little LED which tells you when the power is plugged in properly. If the power is not working properly, it will give you a red light here. Probably these Asus cards are my favourite cards at the moment. If the one thing that really does annoy me, it's not being able to turn off the lights and keep them off permanently. You actually need to have the software running on your rig to be able to turn them off. In mining, power consumption really counts. You want to try and reduce power consumption wherever you can, so it would be a nice feature to be able to turn these lights off. Alrighty, so last but not least, we've got the Gigabyte Aurorus 4GB RX 570 card. And okay, so what are the pros and cons? At the moment, I could only really find this card on there on Amazon Prime for $279, which is a really good price. So if you can get that and you're looking to get in cheaply to mining, then it's probably not a bad card to buy. The return on investment will be, your turnaround time will be quite good. And all these RX 570 cards, with the proper timings, BIOS mod timings, and with the proper drivers, you can easily get 27 to 30 mega hashes with them. So they're a good card for return on investment. Okay, so pros. This card is actually the smallest of the lot, so it's 23 centimeters long, and it's not as wide as the Sapphire. So it's a little bit it's only a little bit smaller than the Asus. It also has a backplate underneath, so you can have that in a gaming rig. This card heats up quite a lot. Okay, so if you have problems where you want to do some cryptocurrency and you're in a hot environment, then I would probably just ignore this card, because it heats up quite a lot. The memory does overclock. It gets to about it can get to about 2000 memory clock, so the card does clock quite high, but I think that's also due to a lot of heat. That also causes a lot of heat as well. So if you're in a cold environment, then by all means go for this card. It might be perfect to warm your house a little bit or something like that. But otherwise, not a bad card. Probably not my favorite card, and probably not my recommended for cryptocurrency mining. Okay guys, so which graphics card would I recommend? I'd have to say my favorite card is the Strix Gaming RX 570 OC model. It's a little bit smaller, it runs a little bit cooler, and it seems to be a little bit more stable than the other two graphics cards that we mentioned here. All these graphics cards are good. They all get you a decent hash rate. I just think the build quality of the Asus Strix is a little bit better than the other two models. Okay guys, so if you're in the market for some GPU for your mining rigs, don't forget to use the links in the description below and support the 123myIT YouTube channel. Okay guys, if it was a helpful video, also don't forget to leave a thumbs up, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video guys. Bye bye.